Hello and welcome to Back to Basics Homestead. My name is Annie. Today is just one of those days where I have a to-do list and I'm doing it and I'm sharing it with you guys. So today I had to cook up some beans for my chili that I want to do. I have to transplant my alpine strawberries. Those are like little yellow conic style strawberries. I want to give these a try because it is said that they don't have runners, so that means less maintenance for me to do. So we're gonna do that. And I also want to share with you the varieties of onions that I will be sowing this year. Don't know why they've been struggling in that pot. So we're gonna give them more soil and hope for the best. Oh. They're pretty small to transplant, but since they're struggling so much, I want to give them like a little boost. And this is actually helping me with the urge of playing with soil, getting my hands dirty, playing with seeds, doing stupid things like sowing tomatoes in February. I've done that. I am guilty of that. Last year I was, I think I sowed in February 2 seeds of tomatoes, and I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna put them in my high tunnel and I'm gonna have tomatoes in June. Well, that did not happen, and I had tomato trees inside the house. Did not know what to do with them, and I had tomatoes on those plants about at the same time as the others. So sowing earlier was a definite for me. It does not give you tomatoes faster. Had to learn it the hard way. But now I know it, and I have adjusted my sowing calendars of my tomatoes. And I know this is going to sound crazy if you're in zone 5 and you have the same similar frost as I do. This year I am going beginning of April, mid-April to start my tomato seeds. The logic behind all of that is I want to sow them 6 to 8 weeks before my last frost, before I want to transplant them outside. Since I want to transplant them at the month of June, in the beginning of June, that brings me to my calculation, beginning of April to, I think it was like April 13th or 14th. I know. In zone 5, we normally start our seeds around March 15, 17. But every year I get caught with my pants down. There's a risk of frost. Things happen, blah, blah, blah. I'm not able to transplant them. And then my tomato seedlings are struggling. So this year I have made a mission to resist sowing at least tomato seeds, because they're the ones that are the most trouble for me. Peppers will remain mid of March, end of March, but tomatoes will be in April because peppers are slower to start. It takes like 20 something days for them to germinate, and tomatoes is between 5 and 10 days to germinate. So I have 24, but one root system was damaged, so I squished it with another one. I wanted about 20 to 24 strawberries this year, so I really hope that all of these make it. So I am watering from the bottom. I don't want to disturb the delicate seedlings, so I'm filling the bottom tray that has no holes with water. And the water's going to go up, and I'm just going to check on the tray in about an hour to see if everything is watered.
it's seed season. Ah! That's what my brain says right now, and I just had to share it with you guys. The urge to sow seed is like crazy. I want to tell you right off the start, I am not an onion specialist. Last year was the first year I was able to grow onions from seeds, and my bulbs were like kind of small, but I actually will count that as a success because before I used to buy bulbs and seedlings. So this year I will not be buying bulbs or seedling unless there's a catastrophe and I have to. But if I don't, I will stick with only my seeds this year. A couple of things went wrong with me last year. I companion planted my onions, and I think that they were struggling because there's too many things in my raised beds. My bunching onions did great. My pearl onions did awesome last year. I companion planted one row in the middle of my carrots. So I had 4 rows of carrots, and in the middle of that, I had a row of my pearl onions, and the other one was my bunching onions. Those went great. In my raised beds, what I think happened, they're 4 feet wide by 18 inch deep by 15 feet or 16 feet, some are longer, long. What I did is I filled my soil about 6 inch from the top, because like filling those things, even though I did the hugelkultur style, I filled everything I had, hay, manure, I had big pieces of wood, rotten wood, anything I can find, leaves. I stacked that like a lasagna style garden. I still had to fill that thing 18 inch high with soil. And what I did is some beds are like 6 to 8 inches from the top. But once it started settling, like it was going down with the water and the rain and the environment, some beds like were higher, went lower than 6 inch. So when I planted my tomatoes, about 12 to 16 inch from the beginning of my raised bed. And then in the middle of that, I sowed an onion seedling. At first, it was doing great, but at one point, I saw that the bulbs were super small and that the top leaf went down. That means your onion is ready. I was kind of confused. So what I think happened is that the sun was trying to hit the onion seedlings and it couldn't because it had like shade. So I've changed my plan with onions. I will be allocating 2-3 rows in my in-ground garden full of compost. I was able to get compost in the fall, and I've put like 2-3 inch of compost in my my market style garden, and I will be just sowing onions in those rows, nothing else. And we'll see if that works. And my companion planting, if I have leftovers, because onions are great for tomatoes and peppers, also carrots and stuff like that. So if ever, I'm going to make sure to grow a little bit more than I need to help me. And then if those bulbs are small, well then worst case scenario, I'll just eat them fresh with salads and stuff like that. For my leeks, I went super simple. I went with the American flag. I'm due to start sowing seeds with leeks next week, but I still consider them as onions, so I just want to share with you. And then I went with bleu de Solanaise. Those two are available on many Quebec seed companies. So I'm saying, okay, if those two varieties are there, chances are I will be able to grow them at my house. And then I love bunching onions for 2 reasons. One, I can just leave the head of the bunching onions and cut a little bit higher than soil level, and then I will have an ongoing green onion all throughout the season. And then at the end of the season, I harvest everything, and whatever is left, I dehydrate them for soups. And if ever I run out of onions, that will replace my onions. I reduce it into a powder, and I use onions like that. So this year I'm going, I'm a sucker for colors. So I always have different colors. So the green one, I went with the red one, and then I went with the scallion. This is Apache. I harvest them young. The taste of it is delicious. As for my storage onions, storage means that stored properly in the ideal conditions, you will have them for many months, and they won't go to seed. Root cellar would be the best thing for me. I don't have root cellar, so we'll see when I get there how much I have in the environment I will create for them. So I went with Rosa di Milano. I went with New York Early. And then this one the description got me curious. Red Weathersfield. It says, extremely rare and sought out after culinary world, this variety is a delicious addition to salad canning and fresh eating. So I have 2 onions, red onions, to try this year to see which one I prefer or if I like both. And then I went with a shallot that says it's high yield and easy to grow, and it conserves well. So it's called conserver shallots. I love shallots to eat in dips, in pasta salads, in cheese dips. I really love shallots. So if I can get these ones to work, that would be great. And then last year I grew Walla Walla. They were pretty small, but they tasted really good. So I'm trying them again this year. I don't have that much seeds from the Walla Walla, but I'm planting them all. And then this one is supposed to be a big sweet onion, the Elsa Craig. So I'm also trying this one. Last year, my seedlings of that one, they were super small, so I didn't really get a good perspective. Even the Walla Walla, like they were good, but I'm sure that if they were bigger, I would get like a good perspective of what they taste like. And then I went with yellow cipollini and white. A friend of mine, Mallory from Quebec Homestead, grew them last year, and I went to check out the description. And from what I've read, they're very interesting, and I want to give this a try. So this is why I'm all over the place with onion seeds. I don't really know like the tried and true varieties that I want. I'm also going with a pearl onion. I want to try to pickle them for also salads. Let me know in the comments below your varieties of onions you're growing this year, your favorites. So if ever all of this does not work for me, I will come back to this video and take a note of your suggestions. And tell me a little bit, let's just say like you're telling me this variety of onion, like if you can give me like a little description so I have a good idea if I want to try it or not, if it's for our family. Also, let me know in the comments below with which seeds you start your season. Obviously, you know mine is onion, but I want to know what is your first seeds that you sow in the ground, and just let me know so I can like help you resist that urge to sow too early if it's not onions. I want to thank you for passing by the homestead today, talking about seeds, playing with dirt, transplanting seedlings, and just having a glimpse of what happens during a day at my house, at the homestead. It's not always romantic. It's not always seedlings and seeds and seed collection and planning. There are days like this, but I thank you for tagging along, and I wish you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.